Hello there everyone, and welcome to this final episode in my astrology series. We are up to the 12th sign of the zodiac, Pisces, and we are just getting into Pisces season for 2022. So it's the perfect time to tell you and talk to you a bit about Pisces and what we can expect from this season. So I don't know about you, but I have found Aquarius season for 2022 pretty full on. Lots of really strong energy, and there has been a lot going on in the skies above us. Lots of conversations between lots of planets. So it's certainly not just because the sun has been in this unusual out there constellation of Aquarius, but I am about ready to escape into Pisces season at this point. And in fact, escapism, mysticism, intuition, and inspiration are all flavours of this final season of the zodiac. So please do be aware that I work with the sidereal zodiac, which considers astrology from the actual placement of the stars in the sky above in the current time. So if this is the first time you've delved into one of these episodes with me, then please pop back to the Aries season, which is the beginning of the series, the first constellation in the zodiac, and there's a lot more information there about sidereal astrology. And alternatively, you can also just go to my website, evenstarwellbeing.com, and that will give you a lot of information about astrology and sidereal astrology in particular if you go to the Astrology for Wellbeing page. But let's get into sidereal Pisces. So the season of Pisces for this year is from the 10th of March to the 22nd of April. So it's a big constellation, Pisces, and that is why its season goes for nearly 6 weeks. Do be aware as well that I am currently in Melbourne, Australia. Now, if you are on the other side of the world, it may mean that the dateline means that those dates are actually forward by a day. So it may be the 9th of March to the 21st of April for you, depending on where you are in the world. If you also have checked in about sidereal astrology and you've read about precession, then you'll realise that the dates that I've just read out are not set in stone. So over almost 3/4 of a century, those dates change by about a day. And that is in accordance with the precession of the equinox. Now, as we've seen with the last few signs, if you have been following along with the series, sidereal Pisces dates are again a big change from tropical Western astrology dates for Pisces, which are the 19th of February to the 20th of March. So there's only 10 days of overlap between the dates of tropical and sidereal, and that means that if you are a Pisces, or indeed if you're an Aquarius or an Aries, then you may feel like, oh my goodness, that's a bit of an identity crisis for me. But I would bet that if you strongly identify with the Piscean personality, then it's going to be because you do still have a lot of Pisces energy, in your chart. Everybody's got a lot of energy. And what that means is that most likely you've got another really important planet like the moon in your chart in Pisces, or perhaps you've got a Pisces rising, a Pisces ascendant that is, or perhaps you've got a number of planets all together in the sign of Pisces. And the best way to find out about that, if you don't have a sidereal chart available for you, is to do a reading with me, and I'm more than happy to talk to you all about your own personal Pisces energy. So, who needs to really pay attention to this information that I'm sharing today? Well, obviously, people who are born between those dates. So, I would go back to people born from March the 9th, and that is because, as I just mentioned, the dates for sidereal astrology do move. So, depending on how old you are, if you were born on the 9th of March, you still may be a sidereal Pisces. So born between March the 9th and April the 22nd, then you're a sun sign Pisces, and that means you identify as a Pisces. You're most likely to see yourself as imaginative, as compassionate, and also as a pretty quiet person, and someone who enjoys quiet as well. If you do already have an astrology chart and you can identify that your moon or your ascendant is in Pisces, then again, the information I'm going to share is going to be highly relevant for you. If your moon is in Pisces, that means that you need to feel the qualities of Pisces in order for your emotional well-being to be fulfilled. So you'll need time to yourself, you'll need tranquility, and you'll need devoted relationships with others. Now, that is me. And I have to say, having a Pisces moon, and I also have a Chiron. My Chiron is in Pisces. So I have a really strong Pisces energy. My ascendant is also very close to Pisces. It's only just into Aries. So I have a really strong relationship with Pisces and a lot of Piscean energy in my chart. So I really noted that, especially when I was writing this information down to share with everyone else, that I really related to it. If your ascendant or your rising sign is in Pisces, that means that that sign was on the eastern horizon when you were born, and it's what you are becoming and developing through this lifetime. So if you're a Pisces rising, it means you're working towards developing your sense of self as a separate individual. So that is a big theme for Pisces. There's all this blending with others, and a real lack of boundaries. Lastly, again, if you can read your astrological chart and you can see that you've got Pisces in the 6th house. Now, especially if you have Pisces on the cusp of your 6th house, but really if it's anywhere in your 6th house, then the 6th house is our house of health and well-being, and that means that this energy is going to be something that really comes into your health. And the purpose for this episode is to talk to you all about Pisces, especially from the point of view of health and well-being, that is medical astrology. If you don't know what I'm talking about in regards to houses, then again, the piece on Aries did explain a bit more about that for you. Of course, if you have a Pisces person in your life that you're in a significant relationship with, then this information is really useful for you as well. We are going to talk about personality a bit more. It helps you to understand other people better. If they're your child or your partner or a business associate, then it's really great information. And also, especially if they are someone that you're in a loving relationship with, it helps you to understand their health and well-being needs a lot better. So Pisces is the last of the 3 water signs of the zodiac, and it is mutable water, meaning it's changeable, ethereal, ever-moving, and this is a real energy of this constellation. One of my teachers calls mutable water steam. So it's the H2O that you really can't hold on to, and that is the nature of Pisces as well. Its energy blends, as I just mentioned, with its surroundings. It's not good at boundaries, and it can be very difficult to nail down. If you do need any more reminders about the water element in general in the zodiac, then I'd suggest that you check out the piece about Cancer, which was the first water sign. Okay, so Western tropical astrology really associates the seasons with the constellations, and that is really the basis of Western tropical astrology, but it really only works very well in the Northern Hemisphere. In this context, then Pisces is late winter. in the Northern Hemisphere according to Western tropical astrology. In sidereal astrology, the Pisces season is actually early spring in the Northern Hemisphere or early autumn in the Southern Hemisphere where I am. So of course this fits really perfectly with the mutable, changeable quality of Pisces. The weather is changing along with the seasons. And we must remember as well that Pisces season is at the point where the wheel of the year is cycling back to its beginning again. It's a wheel, it's a constantly moving cycle. And the next season is Aries season, which is the first season of the zodiac, the first constellation. So Pisces is the last sign and season, and the energy is all about endings that lead to beginnings and renewal. The journey through Pisces season requires us to find peace at the end of the journey around the wheel and be prepared to start again. The sign of Pisces is ruled by dreamy, hidden, strange Neptune as a planet in modern astrology. In traditional astrology, it's ruled by Jupiter, who you may remember also rules Sagittarius. Jupiter is all about expansion, which is definitely a key aspect of Pisces as well. Again, it's that merging with everything and everyone around. So I do feel with Pisces that those two rulerships are really appropriate. I can feel them, I can see them working. The symbol of Pisces is the fishes, really appropriate for this water sign, but specifically the symbol is an image of two fishes swimming away from each other. So it's really picturing that dual nature of Pisces, the dual nature of the emotional and the spiritual, which we really need our emotional and our spiritual selves to work together for our whole self, our whole being, to be living in the best way it can. The fishes also represent water in general, and especially the oceans, and the fact that all water on the planet is in a constant cycle of connectivity, just like the wheel of the year. So when you think about it, even the water in your body originally came from the oceans and will cycle back to them. The 12th house is the house that Pisces rules. So the zodiac chart is divided into 12 houses, which refer to 12 different areas of life. They house a different aspect of our lives. And if a planet or a sign is in a house, that gives us information about what area of our life their energetic effect is going to be felt in. So each of the signs rules one of the houses. And for Pisces, as I said, it's the 12th sign and it rules the 12th house. This house is, again, all about endings and beginnings. It's about spirituality, it's about finding inner peace, the subconscious and the unconscious. So anything which is hidden or which takes you away from everyday life is associated with the 12th house. That includes mental illness, drug use and addictions, and institutions as well, things like hospitals and prisons where we're away from our normal life. They are all associated with the 12th house. As you'll know if you've been following along with this series, each sign of the zodiac also has a particular body type associated with it. And this is largely based on the elements, so most water types have a similar type of body. I will say though, and as I've said in all the other episodes, this body type thing is generally often associated with the rising sign. So if you're a Pisces sun, you won't necessarily have this Piscean watery type of body, but if you're a Pisces rising, it could be more relevant for you. It can also be more dependent on the most dominant element in your chart. So if you overall have water as your dominant element, which I do, then the water body type can come into fruition. So a water body type generally is quite rounded. So you think about things flowing and it's kind of, not got a super well-defined shape. and that is the water sign. Now, water type, I beg your pardon, of bodies. However, with Pisces, it's been found that often, I think because of that mutable quality of water with them, they're often quite sort of almost like an airy water, like steam, and can tend to be quite wispy, quite thin, not very robust. They've been described as elven-looking types. And they don't look robust, and their constitution definitely overall cannot be very robust, tends not to be very robust. They're so sensitive, so open to their surroundings. That lack of boundaries means that they're quite prone to infection. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a good example. So I said I'm a Pisces moon, and look, I don't have that watery body type. I definitely have more my ascendant body type, which is Aries, which is that kind of strong, athletic type of body. I do, however, have a tendency, if I didn't look after myself, I would absolutely be much more watery and rounded. Okay, each sign also rules different parts of the body, and for Pisces, that is diffusion and movement of fluids and gases, which is, it totally resonates, doesn't it? The immune system and the lymphatic system, which are very much tied up together. The pineal gland, the feet. So you will have seen, if you followed through the series, we started with Aries with the head, and we finish with Pisces at the feet. And Pisces also rules the cerebral spinal fluid and the spinal canal. I should have mentioned before as well, from an Eastern medical point of view, the Pisces constitution tends to be cold and wet. So when we're treating it, we'll either be treating it with things that are cold and wet if it needs to build itself up, or if it's excessive, then we'll be treating it with things that are more warm and dry. As far as ailments for Pisces, so it's things associated with those body parts. So any injuries to or illnesses that are associated with those body parts that I mentioned. General sort of relaxing and softening of tissues where things lose their tone is a Pisces kind of condition. Mucus and colds. And infections in general, so any viral or bacterial infections can be really relevant for Pisces types. Weight gain, which we've kind of mentioned before, so that tendency to become rounded. Leaky gut as well, so because we're talking about, tissue, fluids moving, anything that's moving between one part of the body and the other. Leaky gut, again, is a really resonant condition that can be associated with Pisces. Addictions, because of that lack of boundaries, they're very prone to kind of that addictive personality. And autoimmune or just immune disorders because of that rulership of the immune system. I always love to talk about the chakras or the energy centers in relation to astrology as well. And to me, Pisces has really strong connections with the sixth energy center, the insight energy center, as I like to call it, and often known as the third eye. And also it's associated very strongly with the connection energy center, the seventh chakra or crown chakra. So that insight energy center, the third eye, governs our intuition and our ability to really look inside ourselves. And this is really the life lesson of Pisces, is that ability to look inside, to identify, to feel as an individual and not be always going with blending with others and really not being quite sure who you are. The connection energy center, that seventh or crown chakra, this allows us to feel connected with all others, and this is one I talked about with Aquarius as well. Lots more information on my website about the chakras if that's something that is of interest to you. So let's talk about what you can do if you have a lot of this Pisces energy. What is going to be good for you? What is going to help you to take a proactive approach to your health? And with that, I always talk about my 5-star well-being approach, the Even Star 5-star well-being approach, which encompasses sleep, movement, food, your surroundings, and then everything else in life, which I lump into one category called being. So let's talk about movement first. Obviously, movement is good for everyone, but especially good for Pisceans to move that physical body, to help them come back into reality and get grounded back into the physical nature of life. Stop that kind of floating off and merging with everything else. Water activities are really nourishing for Pisces. They'll generally, if you've got a lot of Pisces energy, you'll be really attracted to water. That's certainly true for me. So swimming, surfing, canoeing, kayaking, even just walking beside natural bodies of water is going to be wonderful for you. If we talk about sleep next, so Pisceans generally really love to sleep. So certainly the world of sleep, the world of dreams is associated with Pisces. It's kind of, again, that way of escaping reality is to go to sleep. But really they do need to ensure they're getting deep sleep. They really need to replenish their nervous system. They're so sensitive, so open to everything else that they need to have that time to shut down and replenish. Dreams can also be a source of inspiration and also information about the self. So that's something that's really important for Pisces to partake in and kind of be aware of. Try and perhaps have a bit of a dream journal if you are a strong Piscean energy person. Let's talk next about food. So Pisceans can, because of that kind of merging, blending with others, always wanting to give to others, Pisceans can forget to look after themselves, and that obviously includes eating nourishing food. They really need to do that though. They've got this not terribly strong constitution, and eating nourishing food is one of the best ways to keep ourselves healthy. It's the energy that we put into our bodies. It can be a good idea for people with lots of Pisces energy to eat small, regular meals or snack rather than big, infrequent meals. Some foods which are really good for them are seafoods. So that includes fish or, animals, sea animals and sea plants or seaweed. However, it can work the other way, and Pisceans can hate eating fish. I have to say I was never a big fish eater. I'm still not a big fish eater, but I do really enjoy a lot of seafoods, and I enjoy seaweed. Really important for us to get that in. Fluids in general, so again, can be so busy giving to others that they forget to drink enough water. So lots of fresh filtered water is really great. Soups and smoothies can also be a good way for them to get nourishment in. So lots of vegetables and fruit as well, but lots of liquid too. They really need to make sure that they limit their intake of stimulants and also alcohol, that addictive personality thing. The desire to escape reality can mean that kind of stuff is really appealing to them, but it's not going to be good for them or anyone. Vegetables, really important for everyone. So some veggies that are great for Pisces energy are peas, green leafy vegetables, beans, spinach, lettuce, and root vegetables to help them to really get that rooted, grounded energy back in. Other things that are good for them to consume are nuts, cereals, and high quantities of protein. Again, that's about grounding. So we're really looking at getting back into our root chakra, our first chakra, our foundation energy to, again, the chakras are like a cycle as well. It's not just kind of from one end to the other, but they actually join back again. So we're talking about the top two with Pisces, but we want them to reconnect to the bottom chakra right at the bottom of the spine. So the lots of protein is really important. So fresh and dried fruits also really important as well. And the mineral salt that Pisceans tend to burn through in great quantities is iron phosphate. So some foods they can consume to help build that back up again is spinach, liver, parsley, beef, strawberries, radishes, cucumbers, almonds, raisins, dates, figs and turkey. Really any meat, I think. Herbs for them to eat are some good ones: parsley, sage, ginger, kelp and seaweeds. There are a lot of other herbs that could also be used as teas, and actually for Pisces there's really quite a few that are commonly used as teas. So some that I've noted down are echinacea, rosehip, nettle, withania, also called ashwagandha, peppermint, chamomile, ginger and cinnamon. Surroundings. So what I generally talk about with surroundings, there's obviously a lot for everyone about avoiding toxins in surroundings, and again there's a lot of information on my website about that in general. But if we want to add in Piscean energy to our surroundings, and that's a really beautiful thing to do for the season, to kind of bring yourself into alignment with the season, is to use essential oils. So the ones that I would suggest for Pisces season is rosemary, magnolia, arbor vitae, clove, geranium and wintergreen. Now if you hop onto the blog, you will be able to see the blog all about Pisces, and that gives you a bit more of a description of the emotional characteristics of those essential oils. And lastly, let's talk about being. So this category that really incorporates everything else and really is a lot to do with our mental, emotional, spiritual health. Our Pisceans have a lot of trouble saying no. They're natural peacekeepers. They like everything to be calm and peaceful around them, and they can often be more willing to sacrifice themselves than to cause a fuss or to cause a disagreement. So they don't say no. So that is the first thing I would say if you've got this strong Piscean energy, is to practice saying no and only do things that are best for you. I often like to say to my clients, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. So as I mentioned, the whole journey of Pisces is to identify and develop themselves as an individual, and there are many different ways that we can do that. I would suggest, different things for different people. So counseling can help, journaling, the arts is a really powerful way to tap into who the deep inner you is to use your creativity. Energy healing helps to balance emotional and spiritual energy and will be very nourishing for sensitive Pisceans. So things like Reiki, kinesiology and acupuncture are all some things to try there. And I also love to mention a bark flower, which is something that works on a really high energetic vibration, very easy to take and incorporate into your daily life. And again, you might want to just incorporate that for Pisces season to bring you in alignment with the energy of the season. The one that we suggest for Pisces is rock rose. So there's been one bark flower was identified by Edward Bach when he created the essences, and one for each of the signs of the zodiac. So rock rose for Pisces. So there you go. I hope that you enjoy Pisces season. Remember, it's quite a long one, so you can really make the most of the energy. I will certainly have lots on my social media all about the season, so you'll get some recipes and different suggestions of things to do and to really help you to tap into the energy, and always posting about the full moon and the new moon as well, which we'll get at least one of for this season. So in the meantime, do take care. Please try to stay positive in what are some really difficult times at the moment. I feel really confident that really at the end of Pisces season, the energy of the world is going to start to shift for the better. Okay, be well.